What if the most important battle we ever fight is not in an arena, but in our minds? Let me take you back 24 years before Katniss Everdeen ever picked up a bow into the world of Panem's darkest tradition. This is the story of young Haymitch Abernathy in Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Today, we're distilling the core lessons from this haunting prequel, how oppression works, how hope is kindled, and how one person's promise can spark a revolution. Section 1. Setting the scene, the stakes of the 50th Hunger Games. The novel opens on the morning of the 50th Hunger Games, also known as the Second Quarter Quell, a brutal twist. Twice as many tributes will be chosen from each district. For Haymitch, this day is even more personal. It's his birthday, a day that should celebrate life. Yet every citizen fears the reaping. He lives in District 12, where poverty, despair, and a quiet resignation dominate. Haymitch's desire is simple: survive, stay close to the one he loves, and avoid thinking too much about his fate. But fate has other plans. This opening setup isn't just about death or spectacle. It asks, how do you hold onto your humanity when the rules are rigged? Section 2. Implicit submission and the power of narrative. One of the deep philosophical bones in this book comes from David Hume, whose ideas about implicit submission inspired Suzanne Collins. Implicit submission is the idea that people accept power structures without questioning them because they believe this is just how things are. Many in Panem obey not because they're convinced, but because they assume resistance is pointless. Lenore Dove, Haymitch's love interest, challenges that assumption. She imagines a world without the reaping and urges Haymitch to see that the status quo is not immutable. She forces Haymitch to promise, one day there will be no sunrise on the reaping. That promise becomes his guiding star, even when everything else seems lost. The capital thrives by telling the story, through propaganda, media control, and fear. Collins uses this theme to show how narratives aren't passive. They're weapons. Section 3. The arena as mirror, strategy, trust, and betrayal. Once in the games, Haymitch is not just fighting for his life. He's fighting the rules themselves. He senses early on that he's been set up to fail, manipulated by powers behind the scenes. Inside the arena, alliances must be made with caution. Trust is fragile, betrayal never far away. Haymitch must navigate deadly terrain, unpredictable mutts, and levers of control that stretch beyond the walls of the arena. Through cleverness, risk, and sheer will, Haymitch begins to understand. Victory is not just outliving others, it's subverting the spectacle, sending a message that this fight counts for more than survival. He learns that resistance is rarely a grand gesture on day one. It's built in moments of defiance, of protecting weaker tributes, of refusing the narrative forced upon you. Section 4. Loss, transformation, and the birth of a mission. By the end of the games, Haymitch emerges changed not only by the horrors he's seen, but by a sense of purpose. He survived, but more importantly, he now carries a mission: to see no more mornings like this. His promise to Lenore to prevent another sunrise on the reaping becomes a vow to resist the capital itself. It's not a blind revenge, it's a long game. He realizes that dismantling tyranny takes more than one win in an arena. It requires shifting hearts, weakening narratives, and inspiring others. Loss is inevitable, some allies will fall. But in those losses, Haymitch learns the hard truth. A shadow resistance must form underneath the spectacle. The capital may command visibility, but real change often grows in the unseen. Section 5. Echoes into Katniss's era. Why this backstory matters. Sunrise on the Reaping isn't just a tragic origin story. It's a lens through which we can read the original Hunger Games trilogy anew. We see how Haymitch's scars and convictions were shaped long before he ever met Katniss. The rebel whispers he carries, the distrust he harbors of authority, the weight of guilt. These all stem from this crucible. We also see how characters we know, including Effie, Beatty, Mags, Wirus, have roots in this era. The regime's machinery, the propaganda playbook, the capital's media control. All of this was fine-tuned over decades. Finally, Sunrise on the Reaping challenges us. Are oppressive systems unbreakable? Lenore shows us they're not, because one person's refusal to accept the way things can become the spark that someday topples the strongest fortress. Powerful takeaway. When the world tells you that some systems are inevitable, it's not true. They last only as long as people stop asking why. Haymitch's promise reminds us, today's obedience is tomorrow's resistance. Otro, that's the distilled heart of Sunrise on the Reaping. A story of how rebellion begins in the mind, and how one promise can echo into generations. If you found value in this summary, like thumbs up, share repeat button, and subscribe bell to Distilled audiobooks for more powerful book distillations. I made you a promise there would be no more sunrises like this. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep learning, keep resisting, keep growing.